Hello, grade 6. Welcome. Welcome to the STEM Lockdown Digital School and welcome to the grade 6 first additional language lesson. Today is a language lesson for week 6. My name is Teacher Fiona and I am your English first additional language grade 6 teacher. Let me tell you what we'll be doing in our lesson today. You'll be working from week 5 and 6 of the CAPS curriculum for language. You'll learn a spelling rule which says double the L when you add a vowel suffix to words ending in L. That sounds complicated, doesn't it? But it's not really, and I'll explain it just now. You'll learn about the verb to be. You'll find out more about the present perfect tense. You'll work with adverbs of frequency. You'll practice finding antonyms. You'll look at phrasal verbs. And you'll review how to use connecting words to join sentences. Lots of language today, but it will be fun. Let's start with our spelling rule. Our spelling rule says double the L when you add a vowel suffix to words ending in L. So let's repeat that. We double up the final L when a word is more than one syllable long, and we add a vowel suffix such as ing, ation, ed, aus, So just remember that a suffix is a little word that you add on to the end of a word, and a syllable could be described as one beat in a word, like suffix is 2 beats, word is 1 beat. Right, so here are some examples. Take the word travel. If you wanted to add a little suffix at the end that starts with a vowel, A-E-I-O-U, you would have to double that L of travel to make it into a double L. So it would become traveling, traveler, traveled. Do you see? For cancel, if you wanted to add more to the word cancel, you'd have to double that L. Cancelling, cancelled. Marvel. If you wanted to add more to the word marvel, you would double that L at the end. Marvelous. And control. If you wanted to add ing or ed or you'd have to double that L. Do you see, it's not so complicated really. You just have to know that your word ends with L. It's got 2 syllables, travel, cancel, marvel, control, and that the piece you want to add on at the end, the suffix, starts with a vowel. And then you know you've got to double that L. Got it? Great. Let's do a practice activity. So what I want you to do is to choose a suitable suffix such as ing, ation, ed, aus, or to add to the end of each of the following words. Now you'll notice that those suffixes all start with a vowel. So you know that you're going to have to double the L if you add one of those onto it. So let's look at our words. Cancel, patrol, enroll, expel, model, travel, marvel, signal. I would like you now to choose an ending for each of those words and spell it correctly. Okay? I'm going to give you a bit of time and then we'll check. Are you finished? Well, let's check as far as you've got. Here are some possible answers. You had to choose one suitable suffix that started with a noun such as ing, ation, ed, aus, to add to the end of each of these following words that have got an L at the end. So here are some suggestions. You might have put different words. Cancel, cancellation. Do you see the double L there? Patrol, patrolling. Enroll, enrolled. Expel, expelled. Model, modeling. Travel, traveler. Marvel, marvelous. Signal, signaled. I wonder what words you used. Do you get the idea? Do you understand the rule now about words that end in L? Great. Let's go on to regular and irregular verbs. Do you know how to tell the difference? Well, one of the ways that we can tell the difference is to put them into the past tense. You can't always tell the difference when they're in the present tense, but as soon as you get to the past tense, that's when you have to know which is a regular verb and which is an irregular verb. And quite often that only comes from your reading. So, let's start thinking of some rules. Regular verbs take ed or d at the end when they are put into the past tense. So for example, play, played, adds ed. Smile, smiled. Smile already ends with an e, so you just add a d. Jump, jumped. Climb, climbed. The rule is, for a regular verb, you have the verb plus ed or d if it already ends in an e. You got it? Good. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, change altogether when they are put into the past tense. So, for example, eat changes to ate. Run changes to ran. Think changes to thought. Drink changes to drank. Do you see how they just change completely? Here is a practice activity for you. What I want you to do is to change these verbs to the past tense and say whether they are regular or irregular verbs. Here is our chart. So you'll see in the first column we've got all the verbs. Some of those are regular and some of them are irregular. In the second column, I want you to list whether they are what they are in the past tense. And in the third column, I want you just to write an R if they're regular or an I if they're irregular. Naturally, you'll do this in your book, so yours might not look the same as mine, but you'll know what you're doing. So let's get started. Ready? Are you done? Great. Right, let's look at the answers. You had to change verbs into the past tense and state whether they were regular or irregular verbs. Right. So let's go through the list. You mark your work. Lie becomes lay and it's irregular. Play becomes played and it's regular. Begin becomes began, irregular. Jump becomes jumped, regular. Sing becomes sang, irregular. Run becomes ran, irregular. Help becomes helped, regular. Fly becomes flew, regular. Keep becomes kept, irregular. Think becomes thought, irregular. How did you do? Do you see all the ones in red are irregular and all the ones in blue are regular? I do hope that you understand the difference between regular and irregular verbs. Well done. Let's go on to our next language concept, the verb to be. What is the verb to be? Have you heard of it before? As you know, verbs are action words, but the verb to be is sometimes called a verb that provides no action to a sentence. There are 8 be verbs. Here they are. You all recognize these. Am, is, are, was, were, be, been, being. Right, the 8 be words. Did you notice that I called them the be verbs? Sometimes they're called the be verbs and sometimes they're called the verb to be. So, let's carry on. The verb to be is mainly used as a linking verb or a helping verb, which we'll find out in a minute. And an important thing to note is it can also take the negative form, such as isn't, aren't, won't, weren't. Right, got that? Good. Here is an activity for you to do. I'd like you to pick out the verb to be verbs in the sentences below. We saw those 8 verb to be verbs, and we also saw that they can have a negative form. So see if you can spot them in these sentences. Let's read them together first. He isn't coming anymore. Number 2, my father is a teacher. Number 3, this soup is very tasty. Number 4, the flowers are on the table. Number 5, it is cold today. Number 6, he wasn't in a good mood yesterday. Number 7, we won't eat the cake before supper. Number 8, I am feeling happy today. Number 9, they aren't listening to me. And number 10, how are you? Right, so I'm going to give you some time to look in each sentence and find the verb to be. Write it down, okay? Right, you're finished? Well, let's check your work. Here are the answers. Did you recognize the verb to be in each sentence? Let's check. Number 1, he isn't coming anymore. There is the verb to be isn't, and it's in the negative form. Number 2, my father is a teacher. Did you get that one? Number 3, this soup is very tasty. Do you see how the verb to be links different parts of the sentence together? Number 4, the flowers are on the table. Are. Number 5, it is cold today. Is. Number 6, he wasn't in a good mood yesterday. Wasn't. Negative form of the verb to be. Number 7, we won't eat the cake before supper. Won't. Negative form of the verb to be. Number 8, I am feeling happy today. Am. Number 9, they aren't listening to me. Aren't. The negative form of the verb to be. And number 10, how are you? Are. How did you do? Did you manage to pick out the verb to be verbs? Great. Well done. What is the present perfect tense? Do you know? Did you know that there are around 16 tenses in English? We've done 1 or 2 of them in our lessons in the last couple of weeks, but we haven't done the present perfect tense. We're going to do the present perfect tense today. So the present perfect tense refers to actions that are already completed and have been done in the past. For example, she has made a delicious cake. That's already done in the past, finished. I have completed my homework. It's done in the past. She has worn that dress before, sometime in the past. Do you notice which words keep appearing? Has and have. So here's the rule. You have the subject of the sentence plus has or have plus the verb in the past participle form, which I will explain now. Let me explain what is meant by the present perfect tense in the past participle form. So the past participle is similar to the past tense when you use a regular verb. You just add ed or just a d. For example, he has helped in the garden before. Help, helped. It just sounds the same as the past tense when it's a regular verb. When it's an irregular verb, things are different. Remember, we dealt with regular and irregular verbs earlier in this lesson, and we said that irregular verbs change completely in the past tense. Well, in the past perfect tense, the present perfect tense, they change again. So let me show you what I mean. So eat in the past tense is ate, but in the past participle form it's eaten. He has eaten his food. See in the past tense was saw, but in the past participle form it's seen. He has seen the movie before. Take in the past tense is took, but in the past participle form it is taken. He has taken his books back to the library. Wear in the past tense is wore, but in the present past participle form it is he has worn those clothes before. A lot of these things you will only pick up by reading, so hopefully you do a lot of reading. That's where you learn all these difficult parts of English. I hope that you have got that. Right. Here is an activity for you to do. Write down the verbs that are in the present perfect tense in these sentences. Okay, you got that. We only have to write down the ones in the present perfect tense. The clue is always has and have. Number 1, Tabu has played the piano for 3 years. Let's read them first and then I'll give you a minute to write down. They have looked forward to the celebration for a long time. Number 3, the farmers have often used the seed bank in the past. Number 4, the oak tree has taken a long time to grow. Number 5, she has sung in the choir for 3 years. And number 6, I have written down the recipe for bean stew. Okay, write down the present perfect tense verbs and then we'll look at the answers. Right, finished? Good. Here are the answers. Check your work. We're looking for the present perfect tense in each sentence. Tabu has played the piano for 3 years. Has played. Number 2, they have looked forward to the celebration for a long time. Have looked forward. Looked forward makes up one verb. Number 3, the farmers have used the seed bank for 2 years. Number 4, the oak tree has taken a long time to grow. Has taken. Number 5, she has sung in the school choir for 3 years. Has sung. And number 6, I have written down the recipe for bean stew. Have written. How did you do? Did you recognize the present perfect verbs in each sentence? Well done. Great. Let's learn about adverbs of frequency. We've done adverbs twice in the past few weeks. The first time we did adverbs of time, and after that we did adverbs of manner. Today we're doing adverbs of frequency. As you know, an adverb adds to a verb. It adds to the meaning of the verb. So for example, you could say he often walks home. If you just said he walks home, it doesn't mean as much as if you said he often walks home. It tells you more about that verb walks. It tells you how often. There are different kinds of adverbs, and as I said, we've done adverbs of manner and adverbs of time in the past few weeks, but now we are doing adverbs of frequency. For example, always, regularly, sometimes, words like that. So an adverb of frequency describes how often something is done. For example, she usually has a piano lesson on a Monday. Have you got it? Good. Here is a practice activity for you. Fill in 5 different adverbs of frequency. These sentences are taken from our 2 stories from this week. Number 1, the farmers plant seeds. Remember, our adverbs of frequency ask the question, how often? Number 2, the farmers go to the seed bank. Number 3, the farmers deposit seeds into the seed bank. Number 4, Paliso walks to school. Number 5, she talks to the plants on her way to school. Could you think of adverbs of frequency as we read through those sentences? I'm going to give you some time to write down your answers. Are you finished? Good. Here are some possible answers. Your answers might be quite different to mine. Right, number 1, the farmers plant seeds every year. I wonder what you wrote. Number 2, the farmers go to the seed bank regularly. What did you put? Number 3, the farmers deposit seeds into the seed bank frequently. Which word did you use? Number 4, Paliso walks to school daily. I wonder what you said. And number 5, she sometimes talks to the plants on her way to school. What did you write? Well, as long as you wrote adverbs of frequency that answer the question, how often, they will be correct. Well done. Here is our next language concept, antonyms. I'm sure you know what an antonym is, right? An antonym is a word that means the opposite of another word. For example, the antonym of hot could be cold. It could also be warm. Here are examples of antonyms. Tall, short. Old, young. Hardworking, lazy. Thick, thin. Big, small. Near, far. Here, there. I'm sure that you use these words every day. Here is a practice activity for you on antonyms. Fill in the antonyms in this table. So here we have a list of words that we'll read together first, and I would like you to find antonyms for these words. Large, love, enemy, arrive, enjoyable, serious, open, important, useful, hard. I wonder what you'll write for your antonyms. I'll give you a bit of time. Are you finished? Good. Here are some suggested answers. Provide antonyms for these words. Large, small. Love, hate. Enemy, friend. Arrive, depart. Enjoyable, boring. Serious, playful. Open, close. Important, unimportant. Useful, useless. Hard, soft. How did you do? Good job. Okay, we've finished antonyms. Now let's go on to phrasal verbs. Have you heard of a phrasal verb before? Yes? No? What is a phrasal verb? You know that a phrase means more than one word. So it's obviously a verb that's got more than one part to it. A phrasal verb is a verb that is made up of a main verb together with another word, which could be an adverb or a preposition or both. For example, looked up, throw away, go out. The meaning of the phrasal verb is not usually obvious from the words used. For example, look down could mean looking down, just looking down, but it could also mean something else. He always looks down on me. That has a different meaning to just look down. So sometimes phrasal verbs have got two meanings. Let's do a practice activity with phrasal verbs. Write down the phrasal verbs in these sentences and try to work out their meanings. The little seed was pushed down into the earth. Do you recognize a phrasal verb there? Number 2. The car broke down 2 kilometers out of town. What is the phrasal verb in that sentence? Number 3. They have lived in that house for a year. Is there a phrasal verb in that sentence? Number 4. The stem of the little seed burst through the soil. Is there a phrasal verb there? And number 5. The man with the axe cut down the trees. I'll give you some time to write down the phrasal verbs. Are you finished? Great. Let's look at some possible answers and possible meanings of the phrasal verbs. Right, the first one, the little seed was pushed down into the earth. Did you get pushed down? It almost sounds like it was forced into the earth, pushed down. I wonder what you wrote. Number 2, the car broke down 2 kilometers out of town. Did you get broke down? Broke down means stopped working. Is that what you thought? Number 3, they have lived in that house for a year. Lived in, is that what you got? And it means stayed there. Number 4, the stem of the little seed burst through the soil. Did you also get burst through? And it means, I think, came out of. I wonder what you wrote. And number 5, the man with the axe cut down the trees. What did you write? Cut down, which means destroyed. So those are phrasal verbs, verbs that have more than one word. Great. Our lesson is drawing to an end, but let's just review something from last time. Connecting words. 3 connecting words. And, but, and then. Do you remember? Connecting words are words that join 2 sentences together to make one sentence. They're sometimes called conjunctions. So the connecting word and shows addition. He went to town. He went to the gym. So we could join that with and. He went to town and he went to the gym. The connecting word but shows contrast. For example, he runs fast, but she runs faster. And the connecting word then shows a sequence. For example, he ate the main meal, then he ate the dessert. Right, so that's and, but, and then. Can you join these sentences with and, but, or then? Let's read them together. The penguin swam to the shore. He jumped out of the water. Now sometimes you can use either one word or the other word. Which one would you use here? Addition, contrast, or sequence? Number 2. The penguin swims well. The penguin waddles easily. How would you join those 2 sentences? Addition, contrast, sequence. Number 3. The penguin caught the fish. It didn't eat the fish. How would you join that sentence, or those 2 sentences? Addition, contrast, or sequence? Number 4. The seal chased the penguin. The seal did not catch the penguin. How would you join those 2 sentences? Addition, contrast, sequence. And number 5. The penguin laid some eggs. The penguin sat on the eggs to hatch them. How would you join those 2 sentences? Addition, contrast, sequence. I'm going to give you some time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Right, are Right, are you finished? Let's have a bit more time. Okay, good. Let's look at some possible answers. You had to join these sentences with and, but, or then. What about this one? The penguin swam to the shore, then he jumped out the water. To show sequence, what do you think? You could also say the penguin swam to the shore and he jumped out the water. Number 2. The penguin swims well and it waddles easily. What have you written? Number 3. The penguin caught the fish, but it didn't eat the fish. That one does seem to show contrast, doesn't it? Number 4. The seal chased the penguin, but it did not catch the penguin. That one also seems to show contrast. And number 5. The penguin laid some eggs, and it sat on the eggs to hatch them. You could say that, but you could also use sequence and say, the penguin laid some eggs, then it sat on the eggs to hatch them. I wonder what you wrote. Great. Well done. Well, our lesson has come to an end, so let's look at what you did today. You worked from week 5 and 6 of the CAPS language curriculum. You learnt a spelling rule for words that end in L. Double the L when you add a vowel suffix to the words if they end in L. You learnt about the verb to be. You found out more about the present perfect tense. You worked with adverbs of frequency. You practiced finding antonyms. You explored using phrasal verbs. You reviewed connecting words from last time. You did a lot of language work today. Well done, everybody. Here are some helpful links that you might want to look at during the week. So you could look at some of these animated language videos. If you don't understand a language concept, there are a lot of videos that are fun to watch on YouTube that explain language very well. Look at this one, regular and irregular verbs. That would be useful. And the perfect tenses, that's another useful one. I'd like to invite you to the next lesson, which is a writing lesson. That takes place tomorrow. So in this writing lesson, you'll read a letter to find out how it is set out, and you'll also write a letter. Hope to see you there. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us today.